So hello my dear friends, welcome back. Welcome to your channel Cooking Astrology. First of all, I would like to thank all of you for subscribing my channel and liking my videos. Thanks a lot. So today in this video, let's try to understand planet Mercury retrograde in Vedic Astrology. Now if you don't know what is planet Mercury, what is retrograde, what I'm doing right now, you can explore my YouTube channel actually. I'm a Vedic astrologer and I made different videos over Vedic Astrology. And you can, in the playlist section, you can specifically find the retrograde and combust planets. We have already made the videos of what is retrograde, Jupiter and Saturn retrograde. But in this particular video, let's try to understand planet Mercury retrograde in Vedic Astrology. Now, retrograde is actually going to be a back and forth motion of any planet, okay? And this is going to be known as some sort of a illusion, like it's not exactly happening. But yes, if you observe it from the planet Earth, like taking Earth as a reference point, and if you look at planet Mercury, it appears to be retrograde. Retrograde simply means going in forward and backward motion. So this is known as retrograde. In very plain language, retrogression is connected with committing same mistakes again and again and again into your life. Now, if you want to understand the impact of Mercury retrograde in your personal lives, I request you to watch this video till end, because I'm going to explain you with regards to the scientific explanation of what is retrogression of Mercury, and also I'm going to blend the Vedic astrology perspective with this Mercury. And I'm also going to cover the zodiac signs also, different zodiac signs. There are total 12 zodiac signs in Vedic astrology. So how Mercury is going to impact you when it is actually going through all that 12 zodiac signs in your chart, okay? So Mercury rules over the 4 or 5 main important things in Vedic astrology. First of all, Mercury represents your communication, okay? Your ability to communicate your ideas in front of other people. This is Mercury. So how you are going to interpret, do the interpretation of the information, that is Mercury. Now, Mercury also represents the processing power. Like suppose I'm delivering this information in front of you. So something back in your mind is actually acting as a processor, okay? So that processor is going to process all the information inside you. Maybe you are right now watching some different videos. You are reading some books, actually reading a newspaper, or you are observing something. So that processing of each and every information is governed by planet Mercury. That is why this is also the planet which represents the analytical thinking of a person. Analytical thinking is a different thing than the intuitive thinking. Intuition is where your gut feeling is telling you like this is wrong and that is right. Mercury have nothing to deal with that gut feeling part. Mercury is more concerned with the practicalities of the life. That is more with the graph, pie chart, looking into numbers, what is exactly happening, and that is the reason this planet is also responsible for the finance industry, banking industry, the processing of all the transactions that are happening. If you are sending money, sending bitcoins, receiving Ethereum, sending these kind of a crypto assets, so that is Mercury. Mercury also rules over the 2 most important zodiac signs. One is the sign of Gemini and second is the sign of Virgo. Now, sign of Gemini is air element. You see, air is responsible for transmuting the information. I'm communicating, so air is helping me to transferring all my voice in the form of like sound waves are getting converted, and then you will be able to listen to me. Air also represents the communication aspect. Air is also responsible for movement actually. Movement means change of place, relocation. So Mercury in that sign of Gemini represent all that thing. Even some portion of your subconscious mind is also connected with the Mercury energy. That is the sign of Gemini. This is originally the 3rd house actually. In Vedic astrology, there are total 12 houses. Every house represents something different. So 3rd house also represents some portion of your subconscious mind. So what is the mental programming that is like fitted inside your mind? So Mercury is also responsible for mental programming. Although in the computer science or in this field, Mercury is also responsible for coding. That is also all the programming languages, they are governed by Mercury. Then it comes to the sign of Virgo. That is the 2nd zodiac sign which is ruled by Mercury. Now Virgo is bit stable, environment, because Virgo is a stability. Okay, Virgo is also a very detailed oriented sign, extremely detailed, very precise. If you want to do something, for example, take the example of a watchmaking company that are making watches. So watchmaking is a very precise thing. You need to assemble maybe 50, 100, 200 different small parts into one component, and then that watch is running. So that assembling of small components using some precision tools, actually, that is also Mercury. The sign of Virgo is also the zodiac sign that have the capacity to focus more towards the critical aspects of the life. Like for example, there is a one painter who actually draw one painting, and that painting is around 99% perfect, and there is 1% imperfection in that painting. So Mercury is that minute ability that have the capacity to go into that 1% imperfection, and that is why Mercury also represents our logical reasoning, your capacity to logically reason with something in sort of some sort of a debate or in sort of a communication, how your mind is going to process the information, and then you will be able to communicate that part in front of others. This is actually Mercury. Now when it comes a retrograde, okay, retrograde actually, if you observe from planet Earth, you can see like Mercury is visible around the early morning time during the sunrise, and at the time of sunset also you can see Mercury. This is also the fastest moving planet in Vedic astrology. So whenever the fastest moving planets like Mercury, they actually went retrograde, it means your some portion of intelligence is going backward, or whatever the mental programming that is pre-fitted inside you, that mental programming somewhat tend to go haywire. Like if you are thinking constructively in one direction, retrogression of Mercury will help you to think constructively in multiple directions. Mercury retrogression also have the capacity to connect the minute little dots, or whatever the mistakes that you have did in your past. Mercury have the capacity to reflect over that mistakes and then do its processing. Actually, it's not necessary retrogression of Mercury is going to correct these mistakes, but this have the capacity to reflect back over the pending mistakes, because retrograde in our Vedic astrology system is also connected with some karmic backlog which is present inside your life. It may be depending over which zodiac sign Mercury is posited or which house Mercury is posited. It represents the karmic backlog connected with that particular area. In the sign of suppose Capricorn, in the 10th house, karmic backlogs with regards to your career. In the 7th house, in the sign of Libra, some karmic backlog with the relationships, with your marriage. 4th house with mother, 5th house with your children, 6th house with your enemies, health issues, 2nd house your money and wealth, 11th house your hopes, wishes, desire, 12th house to deal with spirituality. And so in different way, Mercury is going to, whenever goes retrograde, this is going to give you enough time to reflect over that past karmas, and this will give you actually some space or some time to correct all that small minute mistakes. The second interpretation of this Mercury retrogression is, for example, you want to maybe take the example of a once again watchmaking company. Now in order for you to produce or create a watch, first of all you need to have some sort of design. Okay, now after that designing stage you will go into the production part. So in the production you will see the assembly of the different components in a watch. Now for example, there are total 50 components that are used one by one to create one single piece of watch. What is going to happen? First step, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th component. So retrogression of Mercury will not going to take you into one specific direction. It may be you are doing one thing right now, then doing third task, then going into the fifth, then going into the 9th task. So you are skipping something. So you are jumping from one activity to new activity all the time. And when you are jumping from new task to new task to new task to new task to new all the time, there is going to be lot of pending karmas that is also connected with this Mercury. Now during that retrogression, it becomes first of all difficult for the implementation part. Very difficult in the execution of ideas actually. Because retrogression, I told you, is going to play with your intelligence. Maybe you are going to bed at night, suppose your thoughts are very clear. Like I'm going to execute my plans in this specific manner. The next day you wake up early in the morning and Mercury is going retrograde in the sky. So this is going to actually play with your mind, going to create a lot of chaos inside that part. So you can also connect the Mercury retrogression with the lack of clarity. And that is why even in my personal belief systems, okay, I'm not saying like it's written somewhere, but retrogression of the Mercury also going to actualize planet Rahu in Vedic astrology. Rahu is also that illusion kind of a planet, that is a smoky kind of a planet. So this will going to create that smoke in your mind. You will not be able to see that clear picture. Retrograde Mercury is also going to act in the similar manner. This is also not going to help you to see the clear picture. Now in a complete 1 year, 365 days, Mercury went retrograde maybe sometime 3, 4, 5, 6 times in a year. So does this retrograde Mercury is going to impact all you people in the similar manner, in the same circumstances, or does this really going to impact you? For that you need to look into your Vedic astrological chart. That is where you will be able to find the answers. Because if, for example, at the time of your birth or at the date of your birth, suppose you born on 12th of November 1993 at 7:35 p.m. in the evening in Michigan, USA. So for example, during that time frame, if Mercury is retrograde, it means in your astrological chart Mercury is going to be in the retrograde motion. Now if in your natal birth chart or at the time of your birth Mercury is retrograde in the sky, then yes, the retrogression of the Mercury in the transit mean in the gochar. Like if right now you see planets are moving, then this have the capacity to impact you in the deeper manner. Whereas on the other hand, if for example some person is born on maybe some different date with some different time, and during that time in the sky Mercury is direct, that is not retrograde. So Mercury retrograde is not going to impact you in that deep manner. In order for you to receive the deepest impact of retrogression of Mercury, you need to have retrogression of Mercury both in your natal birth chart and even in your transit also. That is when you are going to feel or face the severe impact of this retrogression of Mercury. I have already made videos over the Jupiter and Saturn retrogression also. You can please watch that videos in the playlist section. I will link in the description, or by the end of this video you can definitely check it out. Next, let me take you to the different areas where Mercury is going to create the impact. Now for example, and here I am talking about your natal birth chart, and I am going to cover all the 12 zodiac signs. For example, Mercury is going retrograde in the sign of Aries. Now Aries is a very action oriented kind of a zodiac sign. If Mercury is in the Aries retrogression, this will actually going to create difficulties in order for you to take certain actions in your life, because action is going to be bit difficult with the Mercury retrogression in the sign of Aries. This is also going to create a very slow processing, or I can call it as the capacity of a human being to make rational decisions in their life, like only thinking about one aspect of the life and ignoring all the aspect. So that is Mercury in Aries. Similarly, if retrograde Mercury is in the sign of Taurus, that is going to create a much deeper impact over your face, your speech actually. Suppose you are going for plastic surgery during Mercury retrograde and you are having in the sign of Taurus. So you will see some complications in that plastic surgery is going to be there. If in the sign of Taurus, this is also the sign of your valuable possessions. Now if you want to auction something, sell something, maybe purchase something, so this is going to create difficulties during that time frame. Similarly, in the sign of Gemini, this is going to create difficulty in the processing of mental information through your thoughts. If in your mind there are 15 thoughts running, you will only be able to communicate the 10 to 15 thoughts. or you will not be able to communicate your thoughts freely. Your emotions are not be able to getting communicated with the help of your speech. Similarly, Mercury in the sign of Cancer. So during that time frame, you are going to be more cautious, more aware of your family members. And there is going to be some pending connectivity of karmas with your mother. It may be stepmother, it may be mother is absent, it may be mother is going to be torturing you. Some sort of pending karmas are going to be there. And that is where your intelligence is also directly interlinked with your father and mother. So your intelligence, the level of intelligence that you are going to receive, that is impacted from your mother directly. Similarly, in the sign of Leo, again fire. In the fire, Mercury tend to lose its hold or grip over something actually. If some other planet is in conjunction with Mercury, then results might going to differ actually. But in the sign of Leo, this shows backlog, karma with specifically government, higher authorities, some legal matters. You want to fight some legal matters with Mercury in Leo in retrogression. You will face some difficulties with the government and government officials. Certain karmas are going to be connected between you and your children. Similarly, Mercury in the sign of Virgo, that is your day-to-day life, your mundane life. 6th house also to deal with your conflicting situations, your enemies. So if it is in the retrogression in the natal birth chart and in the sky also, it become very, very difficult for you to create a perfect bond with other people, because the retrogression is going to impact in your day-to-day life actually. Similarly, in the sign of Libra, that is your relationships, that is your marriage. And I have seen with the Libra energy, there are going to be highly likely chances. If right now you are in one-on-one relationship with someone and that person is, for example, going to leave you, now after 1 year, same person is coming back into your life. So this is back and forth motion. On and off kind of relationships are going to be seen with Mercury impacting the sign of Libra, or even having any sort of connection with the 7th house. Similarly, in the 8th house, the sign of Scorpio in the water, Mercury also tend to feel confused in water, because here the analytical thinking, that logical power is getting dissolved. The water is more of an intense sign. This is more to deal with the intuition. Mercury don't rule intuition. Mercury represents intelligence, critical thinking. So when it goes into that water, Mercury tend to think intuitively actually. And when then intuition power is going to be there, Mercury tend to feel agitated, frustrated. Similarly with the Dhanu Rashi, the sign of Sagittarius, that is where this is ruled by Jupiter, that is your belief systems, which you have inherited because of your family members. So if it is retrograde, it means you are not going to adopt the belief systems of your gurus, your teachers, your family members. You are going to have your different set of belief systems, because this is going backwards. So this is going to enough time to think about the different perspectives, like what is good for me, what is bad for me. Similarly, in the sign of Capricorn, some pending karmas are going to be connected with your top bosses. Maybe sometime you are going to get a boss where that is going to take you into the higher realm, whereas sometime you will find that kind of a boss that is actually going to take you into the lower level. This is also the planet which creates a lot of political environment in the sign of Capricorn. So it doesn't matter whether you change one organization, second, third or fourth, the environment will remain same. Similarly, in the sign of Aquarius, that is the 11th, that is your hopes, wishes, desire, your incoming gains actually. Now suppose you want to set up multiple sources of income with this Mercury. Now you have the capacity to set up multiple income sources, but as soon as you start mixing money from here to there to here to there, putting one money here, then money there, this will create financial instability in your life. Similarly, in the sign of Pisces, that is where this is the debilitated realm of the Mercury. Now, in my personal observations, Mercury in the sign of Pisces is going to be a worst case scenario, both in D1 and in the D9 chart. Apart from the zodiac sign placement of Mercury in the sign of Pisces, the houses which are governed by Mercury with the sign of Gemini and the sign of Virgo, they are also getting deeply impacted. It becomes very difficult for you to grow into that specific domains in your life. If, for example, Mercury is gaining control over the marriage house, it becomes very difficult for you to then find a prospect match, because Mercury is going to process that information in a very slow manner. Sometime you are thinking this is a good match, sometime you are thinking no, this is not a good match, and that is back and forth motion that you are going to experience. So I hope you have gained some deep insights over Mercury retrogression in this video with me. You can feel free to contact me at my email ID if you are having any queries, any consultation with regards to your Mercury retrogression, marriage, career, spiritual consultation. Do let me know. Also, please don't forget to subscribe my channel below Make sure to hit the like button if you really enjoyed this video, and feel free to follow me on Instagram as well. And please watch this playlist. This is going to help you to find answers of all the retrogression related queries. And I'm going to meet you very, very soon in the next video. Till then, bye-bye and Hare Krishna.